Welcome back to UAP Rant episode 11. Previous episodes we've been talking about some key characters historically, including Otis Carr, Douglas Tour, Dr. Ningley and Victor Shaw-Berger, in connection with our research in the field on UAP in the form of anomalous orbs and rods. So we've got several papers published by our lab now that you can find on ResearchGate on this, but what I wanted to focus on in particular today was the subject we've touched on previously regarding magnetic confinement for these anomalies or anomalous objects in terms of their orientation to physical space, and as we've said, within what we think is interdimensional anomaly or location-centric anomaly. And we've been linking that to the kinematics and structural morphology of these orbs and rods that you can listen to in our previous podcasts or look up in our research papers under ResearchGate. So going more into magnetic confinement, we've talked about the structural dynamics in terms of harnessing available energy. But what we think is when they manifest in the physical dimension in a magnetic vector field is that because they're harnessing that energy to orientate themselves, they're also confined or magnetically confined by the available energy as well. And we found that when we measured electric and magnetic field intensity, that it built up during the day and it dissipated overnight. And we found that was correlated with the intensity of activity. In other words, at peak electric and magnetic field intensity, we had an abundance of high energy orbs and rods, and we found that by the early hours in the morning, this anomaly was dissipating, and the number or abundance of orbs and rods also dissipated, and their kinematics was significantly reduced as well. So we think there's a correlation there, but with something to do with harnessing the available energy within the anomaly, and even ghosting orbs that seem to be coming through this haze but not manifesting, decreased in number and kinematics as well, whether or not they manifested into physical space. So there seems to be a few correlations there going on, and the data showed this, which points to magnetic confinement and what we think is an electric field. Now, we've talked a little bit about James Clerk Maxwell's original work with four-space geometric potentials. So I'm going to touch more on that in the next episode, and connecting it in relation to magnetic confinement, because if they're harnessing available energy, they're magnetically confined in physical space, then logic would say that they are getting that energy not in terms of three-dimensional electric energy, but it seems more akin to what Maxwell was originally referring to before his equations were edited by Heaviside, that space is electric and four-dimensional and holds enormous amounts of potential energy that could be harnessed if you have the right structure. And in terms of UAP, that seems to be what the structure is that is required in terms of like a capacitor induction model with dielectrics involved in that, and an electrochemical model of utilization or ionization of available energy, which allows them to overcome inertia and orientate themselves. So we've got a whole lot of or a sequence of items lined up here that all point to the same thing, and as I've said before, field repulsion science, which is totally absent from our knowledge of public science, and I think that's all tied up with how UAPs work. And if we look at whether or not these things are sentient or not, or natural, they seem to be, or we hypothesize that they're a form of NHI. They could be associated with a larger object or in the surrounding physical space, or even monitored by a larger object. We're not sure. But in terms of energy cascades, they're still looking for or looking to access all that available energy. I don't think it matters what type of UAP it is. It's all the same principle. And if we look at the location that they're in regionally, there is naturally occurring magnetic anomalies there. It's an iron ore rich area with lots of mining operations. There's a lot of quartz there. You get a freeze-thaw cycle of desert climate with water. So the ionisation of the atmosphere, I think, contributes to this energy cascade, and there's some knowledge or alluding to ley lines and magnetic field lines around the Earth as being a conduit for this activity. And even in terms of historic history or ancient history, looking at megalithic structures and their location, there seems to be something there with connecting up with this available energy within these anomalies. So I'll leave it at that for now. Plenty more to talk about as we move through this and verbalise all our research and put it in the context of the scientific literature and what's going on with UAP and through our recent and more ancient history as well. So I look forward to talking more about it soon.